can't look backwards. I say this every time we do this training. Tom Ferry has a really good quote, and it says, everyone can feel what's happening in the market. Good agents know what's happening in the market. Great agents can explain what's happening in the market. So if you want to have influence over your clients, get them off the fence, help them get out of their own way, help them navigate through their fear, help them navigate through this process, the more data you have, the more information you have about the situation, the market, the house, everything, the more you can influence the situation. The more information you have, the more you can influence. And so, a lot of people don't know this thing exists or even how to read through it and come up with some analysis of it. Hey, Brittany. So, does everyone know how to find info stats? Anyone not know? Show of hands. It's okay, and you're not the only one. Okay, perfect. All right, I'm going to show you. I was waiting for someone to say they didn't know because everyone's lying in here. All right, when you log into the MLS, you come to this screen, and everyone normally just goes to Matrix. Instead, click Market Stats. That's it. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that the MLS offers us, but no one uses, and they just spend millions of dollars a year on it, and no one touches it. This is actually a good one. So you're going to go to Market Stats when you log in instead of Matrix. So that is how you get here, and this pops up. So you can come in here and you can edit. Right now I have it set on the entire MLS, but you can do a city, you can do a zip code, you can narrow it down to county, you can narrow it down a couple different ways. So for the purpose of this this video, this training, we're just going to do the whole MLS to see kind of in general what's happening. And I'm going to move it so it's not directly behind me. Sorry, Tim. Crazy. All right. So across the bottom is the different data points, and then you have the graph, and you can do it across different time periods as well. So I have it set for 3 years. So you're going to see 3 years worth of data for the median sale price. So you can see a good, healthy increase in median sale price. That's great. Right now our median sales price is $268. So it's growing. Our average sales price is like $350 something, but median's a little more accurate look in the data. So median sales price, healthy, growing. It's not crashing. It's not going to the moon like it was at one point. It's good, healthy, happy. This is not going to work for me turning around. Tim, make sure I don't mess this up. How should I make it mirror?
You go up there to your.
Oh, you can't see what I'm doing.
Display. I would just do it mirror your screen.
Which one? Use as?
Yeah, use as expand mirror.
Mirror.
Oh, it should be the same.
Yeah. No one read my email.
Drop down your emails.
I'm talking about you in my email, so don't read it. Okay.
Have it recorded, so.
Yeah, you're just gonna pause it and go back. Yeah. What's Brett working on today? You don't want to know. Okay. Now I can see. Here we go. Now we're rocking. All right. Median sales price, happy, healthy, growing, trending. That's when you zoom out far enough, 3 years, 5 years. I think it goes back to 2013. You can see trends, right? So it's good. It's not bad. Late 22, we were still kind of coming off the high. 23 is where you really just kind of saw the lows of everything in the market. So we are recovering, bouncing back into a healthy, balanced market. New listings. This is how many new listings came on the market in the month of June. We're still seeing all-time peaks. When you go back max all the way to 2013, we are at all-time high as far as listings hitting the market. More people are putting their home on the market now in Oklahoma City than have ever put their home on the market. So that alone might seem scary, but when you look at, we'll keep going a little bit. Homes for sale, you see during COVID, we couldn't put homes on the market fast enough. They were getting bought before we can put them on. Now we're seeing the most homes we've ever had on the market ever. And that number is 8,500 homes on the market. Most we've ever had on the market ever. Again, sounds scary. We'll keep going though. This is where it's not scary or where the market's doing an okay job of absorbing. So every market Housing is a commodity. Commodities are driven by supply and demand. I talk about this every time too, so I'm gonna keep talking about it. So the more supply there is, prices should be lower because I have options to pick from. The less supply, like we had in 2020, you can pick your price and people will pay whatever you want. Prices go up because there's not enough to go around. So as inventory goes through the roof, all-time high, all-time new listings, it seems scary for homeowners because more supply should mean lower prices. However, demand is pacing with supply at its highest rates that we've seen across the last 5 years, almost all time. So what that means is more listings are coming on the market than ever. We have more listings than ever, but we're actually absorbing them at a higher rate that we have in 3 years and almost as high a rate as we have even during the COVID times. Not quite, but you can see COVID times pending. So this is pending sales, how many homes go pending during the month. So during COVID times, we were between 2,500 and 2,800. We are now at 2,549. So you take away 20 and 21, and we're basically as high as we've ever been in pending sales. 20 and 21 were not normal, obviously. So the market is keeping pace. Demand is keeping pace with supply. So that's why we're not seeing 20,000 houses on the market and prices falling rapidly and days on market going through the roof. So pending stats are keeping up. Closed stats are keeping up at, if you take out COVID, at almost all-time highs. So pendings, closings are keeping up, pacing with homes for sale. So you're seeing new listings at about 3,700, pendings at about 25. So there's about 1,000 houses a month that are coming on the market that are not getting absorbed. So if that continues to happen, which I can't imagine listings will continue to pace at that rate once fall hits, I can't imagine. But if that continues, then eventually in 6 or 8 months, we'll be out of a balanced market. We might be actually getting pretty close to a buyer's market where inventory is starting to really stack up. But we're not there yet. We are pacing. Demand is still pacing with supply. So again, almost all-time highs in closings, almost all-time highs in pendings. We do have all-time high in new listings, but I think that will eventually taper off. Looking at median days on market, this is the other thing that's kind of crazy. You're seeing all-time highs in listing counts, but average days on market is flat, up a hair, but basically flat. So of homes that are selling, they are selling quickly. And this is where we'll talk about it a little bit more. We talked about it last month, and I have another graph. I did the data again this month. We kind of see 2 different markets. If you price your home right, market it right, get it ready for the MLS, or get it ready for marketing, it sells in 20-something days. If you don't, if you go for aspirational pricing, and you don't make the make-ready repairs that your agent tells you to do, then it sits on the market for longer. And we're not seeing those go under contract yet. So we're actually seeing days on market be consistent.
Can I clarify, can you clarify on the days on market, is that active to sold or active to pending?
That is sold homes, what they have sold at days on market. I'm pretty sure. Now you got me questioning myself.
I always forget, so I was.
Yeah, it'd be before they go pending, right?
It'd not be closed, it'd be pending.
I mean,
Okay, so it's when they go pending. Well, hold on, let me look at pendings because I have that data, you guys.
yeah, right.
23. Is that what that was? Yeah, okay, it is. It's pending. Yeah, so it's not closed. It's active to pending. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't count. Once you hit pending, it doesn't continue to count to closed. But I thought it only recorded it when it was moved to closed. I thought, I'll double check that, but it's active to pending. So again, if a property stays on the market active, it's not being counted in this because it has not been moved pending yet. So days on market being relatively steady, again, creeping up, but relatively steady. And then month supply. This is kind of the number one indicator if you are an economist or if you're looking at what kind of market we are in. It is month supply. So the way month supply works, or it might be called an absorption rate, how quickly can the market absorb listings? So if no more listings came on the market, if we just stopped with what we had, how long would it take our market to absorb the 80, or the, what is it? The 8,500. So how long would it take our market to buy up all the 8,500 listings if nothing else came on the market? And that is 4 months. It would take exactly 4 months, so 120 days if it just stopped right there. So what economists normally use when they look at month supply of inventory is 0 to 4 months is a seller's market. That means there is not enough inventory. 4 to 6 months is a balanced market. That means supply and demand are kind of even. And then 6+ months of inventory is a buyer's market. That means there's more inventory than there are buyers, and buyers have their choice. So in a seller's market, sellers make the rules. In a buyer's market, buyers make the rules. So we are just on the cusp. The other frustrating thing about this software, this application, is over the next 3 weeks, it will adjust. So like these pending numbers almost always adjust down by about 1 to 200 pendings. Frustrating, I don't know why. But so where you see a little jump, what it'll actually probably be is a flat, because they, over the past 4 months, they've all adjusted about 100 to 200 down. So in the next couple weeks, this might be like 3.9. I don't know, can you read that?
Do you think it's because they bust?
Yes, that's why the pendings adjust. The close don't move near as much, but the pendings move by about 1 or 200. So in the next couple weeks, this might be 3.9. Almost nothing adjusts up. They all adjust slightly down. So you're seeing normal as we come out of the craziest COVID times. You're seeing normal uptick. That's fine. We haven't really been above 4 months on market, 4 months inventory. Again, I talk about this each time, since 2013. So we've been in a seller's market for the last 13 years. It just got very intense during COVID, but even in 2018, 2019, you see it was getting very low, under 3. At one point we had 3 weeks of inventory on the market, which is crazy. So again, if you just look from here to here, that doesn't look great. But if you look at it relative to a real market, we're just kind of getting back to where we need to be. This is, for the last 2 years, interest rates are doing what they were designed to do, which is cool the demand on housing to allow inventory to catch up, and that's what's happening. So we're not panicking. Exactly what we thought would happen or exactly what we hoped would happen is happening. Now, as a real estate agent who makes money when houses sell, I don't like that. I want houses to sell like this, right? But as an American who lives in an economy and my dollar gets weaker every day, this is good. This is a good thing. And so it's doing what it's supposed to do. Not a reason to panic. It's cooling. It should be in a balanced market. So month supply, very important to kind of understand all that. So this is where we are talking about, this is the data I pulled this morning, where we talk about the tale of two markets. This is why it's so important to price your home accurately, is because so I looked at last 6 months closed, all pending listings and all active listings. So, and whether or not they had a price drop or not. So if you price the home accordingly, correctly, market it correctly up front, and you don't have to do a price drop, your house takes 24 days to sell. If you price it above where it should be, or you don't do the repairs or the make ready and you have to adjust your price, all homes that had a price adjustment took 99 days to sell. So you want to do it in 1 month or 3+ months to sell your home. If you're cool waiting 3-4 months, that's fine. We'll price it wherever you want to price it. We need to have a price cut plan ready to go, though, if it doesn't sell in the right amount of time. But you see the difference. You see the importance of pricing it correctly. All the pendings, same thing. If a pending had no price drop, meaning it was priced correctly the first time, sells in 23 days. If the pending had a price drop, meaning they had to adjust to market, it took 93 days. And everything active on the market that has not closed, no price drop is 41 days. And ones that have had price drop but are still active, they've been on the market on average 101 days. So you see, And all these people, they're way past these averages, so they need to drop their price, right? As soon as they drop it, they'll sell, normally. But what you see, what that shows you is, as you 1,000 homes are coming on, or what, 3,700 homes are coming on the market. 1,800 of them are priced right, 1,800 of them aren't. The ones that are selling a month, the ones that aren't selling 4 months. And every month another 3,700 are coming on, and 1,500 are closing, along with extra 1,500 that maybe corrected their price. So does that make sense? So it's just some are getting absorbed quick, or they're falling into that 99-day category. So my question to my seller is, do we want to be on the 23-day path or on the 100-day path? And it's okay, we can be on the 100-day path, but I want to make sure you know what I'm seeing. I'm seeing houses overpriced, sit, priced right, sell. Does that make sense? I think that's important conversation to have with a seller. I'm going to start. I meant to do this. Take one of those and pass it down. Everyone gets a handout today. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I think you're gonna freak out when you read it.
What's your, I'm asking for Allison. She has sellers who think they should list their home at $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
It comps for $450 to $650 max. So yes, when you take this data to them, they don't care about time. They have no timeline.
Okay.
But still, what is your cap of I'm not pricing it at $1 million, even though you think you have all the time?
You'll get a lot of differing views on this. So I'm going to tell you my opinion.
Okay.
It's not the right opinion. It's not the only opinion. It's my opinion. And it kind of plays into what we're going to talk about at the end if we have time, which I don't know if we will or not. I'll take every listing. I'll take any listing. My job is to make sure you know what I see in the market and guide you. I can't make, we have adults here. I can't make you do anything. But I don't want you to think that Brett's not doing his job when this thing sits on the market for 3 months and not one person comes to look at it. Because here's what I'm telling. Do what?
We said adults.
Adults, yeah. Well, they're legally adults.
Legally.
Maturity, they're not. So I'll take every listing because I know I'm skilled enough that I can turn listings into more clients. I can roll those into more clients. Some people are like, you're going to hurt my days on market. You're going to hurt those stats mean almost nothing. No one knows they exist unless you tell people about them. So my job is to get more business. Listings, sign calls, open houses, those things get me more business. So I take every listing I get. I don't lie to them about pricing. I don't do these things that a lot of agents do to get listings, but I set the expectation up front. We come up with a plan. Whatever their goals are, whatever the market's telling us, we come up with a plan, and then I'll take the listing. I'm not going to work I would love for it to sell for $1 million instead of 400. I would love that. It doubles my commission. But it's, here's what I'm seeing. So you can't make anyone do anything. That's the important thing. And a lot of agents are like, I'm not going to waste my time or my money marketing. If you're doing a good job, you're working your business, you should get more business from that business. Not always, but on average, you should always get more business from your business. So just have the conversations. That's all you can do. Influence them. Sometimes people just need to experience what you're telling them. They think they're smarter than you. They think they know more. They think they whatever. And if it sits there for a long time and no one comes to look at it, that's more impactful than you saying it's overpriced. And then what's important is when you put it out there overpriced and nothing's happening, don't be like, oh, I'm afraid to call this seller because I'm not doing a good job because no one's coming. It's their fault, not your fault. Call them. So no news is news. Hey, no one called about your house again this week. Let me know when you're ready to maybe make an adjustment. Hey, no one called about your house again this week. One guy called and made fun of me because of how high it was priced. Whatever. But that's the number one thing agents do is when they don't have good news or when they have no news, they don't call their clients and they don't answer their clients' communication. That is feedback. And so you have to be, especially on overpriced homes, tell them over and over and over again. Yeah.
So are you saying that even if the listing is overpriced, we can take the listing,
I re-
work it out, and maybe even if that listing doesn't sell, you can get more buyers?
I recommend. I will never turn down business. Now, one argument you might make is, well, I'm going to go spend, $300
Yeah.
on photos and lockbox and sign and blah blah blah. And if it's twice its price, will it ever? So maybe you say something along the lines of, I'm so confident that we're out of the price range. I would like to, if you fire me at any point, I'd like to be reimbursed for my marketing. I never do this. No one's ever been this out of price. And so you can do something like that to protect yourself a little bit. Especially if you're doing videography, if you're spending $1,000 in marketing or something, you might do something like that. Just because it's so far, yeah.
I will say I did have a listing that Graham and I actually worked on. It was a listing in my neighborhood that was way overpriced, and I thought it was a complete waste of time. And she ended up buying 2 homes from me. So
Bingo.
I had no idea. She wasn't even talking about. She wasn't even talking about buying a home at the time. I called her and I was like, hey, no new information. Just kind of let it go. And she ended up buying 2 houses, so it worked out in the end.
I mean, yeah,
Every
these are
situation will work, but
these are relationships. These are people. Help them. They need help. The next person might not have the realistic conversation with them, and they might just be like, yeah, let's do $1 million. Let's do 1.1. Whatever, man. Wow.
Well,
So.
if that person who does 1.1 wins, I think it's fine to let them win because I feel like
Yeah.
people will come back to you. Like
I-
if it sits for 6 months and they want to relist it at $750.
If you've got a house that the person wants aspirational pricing, you should always mention that you'll probably find, this is how you combat that. I'm sure someone will sit in this chair and tell you that the home is worth that, but that doesn't do me any good. So be careful of agents telling you exactly what you want to hear. And then when someone tells them that, hopefully they think of you. But don't say that if the home's priced right or if you have the listing, but only say that if they're interviewing and they want more, because they're going to ask ChatGPT and they're going to ask their neighbor, and their neighbor's going to be like, my friend told them this, whatever. So if you're not giving them good news, well, Melissa and I just had one. She priced it $20,000 over what we said, and we warned her, and we get above here, it becomes less predictable. I don't know what's going to happen. If we get so far outside the data, it just becomes less predictable. And went under contract in 4 days. So. So you never know what comes from your transaction or what someone was moving into town, had to have that house, wrapped it up. So you just never know. So always take the business, but set your expectations very clearly up front, always. Yeah. Again, some people might say, don't waste your time, don't waste your money, it makes you look bad, makes you look like a bad agent. No, it doesn't. Have you ever looked at a realtor and be like, I can't believe this realtor priced it right here? No, you probably say, I bet that client told them to price it. Client's probably crazy, yeah. So there's there's very little that wrong that could come from getting more business. Unless another caveat, if there's if they are taking up a lion's share of your time and preventing you from doing your job elsewhere, maybe then you can make a business decision that it's not worth the work with them. But if they're a normal person and they're not emotionally abusive, then take them, in my opinion.
that's what I had to do. I just set boundaries. I had to learn that because they wanted me to do an open house every weekend.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
wanted me to do all these different things, and I just told them, I was like, I am willing to list this for you. I think it's going to sell for this, but I'm not able to do all this other extra work and waste all this time.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
expectations.
a little sidebar, but this is something I try to mention as many times as I can. If you have a client that's like, I need you to sit in my open house, and it's a terrible open house, no one comes through it or whatever, or it's in a gated community or whatever, the line I always use is, an open house, my job at an open house is to capture buyers. No one came through this open house 2 times in a row. I'm better serve you if I sit somewhere else and capture buyers and bring them to your home. So sitting here, keeping it open is not best for you. And that gets you off the hook. But a lot of people, if you have a emotionally abusive client that makes you sit their house every week, even though it's a terrible open house, you kill your business for months if you don't have an opportunity to prospect for months or weeks. So that's how you get out of that. my job at open house is not necessarily to sell your house, it's to capture buyer clients to sell my listings. I'm better serve you if I'm somewhere else capturing clients. That was a side thing. Okay. So again, what's important here, and this is, it kind of gives you some quick stats. It gives you some quick talking points. So I'm going to kind of go through those real quick. If you look at the talking points for sellers in the green little area there, is again, 2 markets exist right now. This is what's important. The number one thing, people value risk twice as much as they value gain as humans. I'm more scared of losing than I am excited about winning. Does that make sense? Fear drives people more than most people. So you want to explain the risk associated with decisions. You want to list your house at $1 million? We can do that. The risk associated is X. You want to offer this, you want to counter this, whatever, the risk is this. And that's how you can help influence people, because they're more driven by fear than they are by gain. So 2 markets exist. Telling stories is better than telling them what to do. So 2 markets exist. We have clients that try to reach for aspirational pricing and it sits, and we have clients that price it right where it needs to be, and we see it move, and we have the data to prove that. So you talk about other clients who have done bad things and got bad results, and other clients who have done good things and got good results. And then in their mind, they're thinking, well, I want to be the good guy that got good results, right? And then we influence them to do the good thing. So talk about the 2 markets. Month supply. So we're on the edge of a balanced market. So there's a window here, right? We're coming out of a seller's market. We're on the edge of a balanced market. But what's important is not the static snapshot in time. Look at the trend. Is it going up or is it going down? It's going up. So a month from now, 2 months from now, inventory might be 5. 6 months from now, might be 6. 8 months from now, maybe we're in a buyer's market. So it's trending. We're on the cusp, but we have a window here where we can still take advantage of the inventory shortage, or not shortage, being inventory being in line. But if we wait 2, 3, 4, 5 months, everything's trending towards more inventory right now. And I don't know which will give first, the massive amounts of inventory hitting the market or the buyer demand. One of them is going to give, and it's going to shift everything pretty. Hopefully they shift together and everything's great. We don't live in that world. So we're at this point right now where we're still right on the cusp of a seller's market, but we are trending into a balanced market. So waiting 3 months to sell a home might not be the best play, because there's another 1,000 houses surplus every month hitting the market for the last 3 months. So we have a window right now. We get into fall, we get into winter, and we add 4 more thousand listings over the next 4 months. We're in a window where we need to take action right now. Buyers are stretched, but active. So rates are doing good, but buyers are still very cognizant of pricing and everything like that. So aspirational pricing is almost never a good idea. So those are kind of some talking points for sellers. Talking points for buyers: don't confuse more listings with unlimited time. So if you hear about how the market's cooling off and there's tons of listings, you got to remind them that the well-priced homes don't sit on the market. The good homes don't sit. The good homes move. So yes, there is more listings, but good homes move quickly. You need to move quickly if you find a home you like. We're not making terrible lowball offers. We're not asking for the moon. We are still in a seller's to balanced market. Inventory is growing, but demand is pacing with it. So more listings does not mean unlimited time. Doesn't mean we call the shots. Not yet. Best selection in 3 years. So inventory has doubled since 2023. We have the most inventory. However, if rates lower at all, then we're going to see even more buyers come into the market, and that inventory is going to get gobbled up in a 30, 60-day period very quickly. If rates fall to 6 again, or into the high 5s like they did in February, we'll see an immediate reaction to that. So again, you're in a window too, right? Let's not just wait on the fence for the smoking deal. You can do that, but this market is subject to change at any moment. OKC is one of the most affordable metros in the country. That's the other thing. We're not driven by huge market, macro market trends. We're in Oklahoma. Our median price is $260. People buy homes because they're getting married, they're getting divorced, they're graduating, they're getting jobs, they're going to school, whatever. Like, normal life drives our market. We're not going to see the massive ebbs and flows. So if someone's waiting, what they're normally waiting for is so negligible that they might lose out on a great house for a negligible difference in rate or a negligible difference in, what do you got? Oh, I thought you're looking.
My buyer just had to pay $800 more because to buy a rate down over a 1 day period of time.
Oh, God, that sucks. Good.
At the same rate.
Because they didn't lock it in?
Because they didn't lock it that day.
Yeah. What if it goes down? What if it goes up? Yeah, lock it in. So these talking points are good to kind of have these communications with clients, with buyers.
Do you even think that it's gonna go down? Where's Robin?
Yeah, I mean, no one knows. Nobody knows. We talked a little bit about this. The mortgage rates are based off the 10-year Treasury bill. Nobody knows. Are we going to be in a war in a month from now? Are we going to start a new war in a month from now? Are we going to have peace agreements in a month from now? Most of it, the T-bill is based on what people think America is going to be good or bad in 10 years. Is it going to be better or worse? That's what the T-bill is. And so much of that is driven by our economy. Some of it's driven by the government buying mortgage-backed securities, but most of it's driven by the T-bill. So no one knows. I suspect they'll be in the low sixes for foreseeable future. I don't know if we'll get into the fives again this year. I don't know. So we will see. Again, it's like, sixes are great. I think we're seeing, I think this mentions it somewhere. We're seeing homeowners who are sitting on a 2 or 3% rate that are finally starting to stomach the idea of moving into a 6% rate. And we're seeing this inventory that had consolidated, and I think it's finally starting to uncoil into the industry. That's why record listings and record buyers are matching, because I think people are getting off the sidelines at the same pace. And so I think rates are to the point where first-time home buyers are feeling comfortable. People are putting houses on the market and selling houses. So the market's expanding. It's not being flooded with listings or flooded with buyers. It's expanding as a whole. And our population growth is not growing. So it's going to be first-time home buyers, non-owners getting into the market, and people who have been sitting on listings getting into the market. So I think people are just starting to wrap their head around this is the new normal. That's kind of been the pace for a while. So kind of that next point, looking at rates, mortgage applications. So there's like leading indicators. You can look at, so like mortgage applications. The Mortgage Bankers Association tracks nationally mortgage applications each week. And the mortgage applications is a leading indicator into pending contracts. Pending contracts is a leading indicator into closed deals. And so you can they're not exactly correlated, but one leads to the other, logically. So you can kind of see the orange line is interest rates. You see at the end of February, right before we started bombing people, we were at 5.98, which is, and you start to see a pretty big influx right here of when we got into the 5.98, applications started going up. But then the rate started going up, and then you see the blue line is applications. So you see applications jump when we hit fives, when there was a 5 in front of the rate, and then as it starts to climb like crazy, you see the applications come down. It rebounds, they go up, it goes up, it comes down, right? They're going to be inversely related. So you can kind of see rates are coming down, but applications are kind of stagnant or lowering. If the rates continue to come down a little bit into the low sixes, you'll see rates go back, or you'll see applications go back up. You'll see pendings go back up, all that kind of stuff. So you can kind of see applications stagnant. So what I'm assuming is that pendings next month are probably going to be stagnant. Our best hope is that we don't put another 3,700 listings on the market this month. That's best case scenario. Maybe 3,200 or 3,000 would be great. That's kind of what it talks about at the very bottom, is looking at pendings and what they do over the next few months is going to be the indicator. If we move into a more balanced market, more inventory, or if we maintain this just expansion of our market. So applications are important to watch, and then just rates. So again, the average rate is 643, but Rob, Shelby, they can tell you they're putting people in houses in the fives. VAs are in fives, FHAs are in the fives really easily. You can buy conventional down into the fives. So this is just the average. If you're a 800 credit score and you got an extra $2,000 to buy on a rate, you can get 5.5 or something, right? So these are just averages. But everyone's is going to be a little bit. Every rate is going to be a little bit different quoted based on you as a borrower. But you can just kind of see the trend of it at least. Again, rates were looking really good in February, and we just saw a bunch of stuff happen in March. April kind of cooled, May cooled a little bit, but June, May and June had super high pendings. So it's just kind of those people that got approved were kind of coming through the pipeline. So this is a 1 year. So you look at like a 5 year. We're at the peak. It was right around 8, and that's where everyone was like, "I'm not moving ever," And now we're into the low 6s. We hit 5 once. 5 is attainable. I think people are wrapping their head around it. So rates are super important. So kind of more again back to this. What to watch for the next 60 days is going to be what do pendings and new listings do next month. If pendings continue to pace and new listings continue to pace at that 1,000 listing difference, eventually over time as both of those have to ease off. I think probably in September. Maybe they keep going through September, but I would assume they have to both ease off at some point, hopefully. But we're not seeing a huge influx of like foreclosures or anything like that. We're not seeing any external factor that is, or layoffs or any of that stuff, beyond the normal, what you'd expect. So there's no external factor that's leading to this huge influx of listings. This huge influx of listings is most likely driven by the influx of buyers that want to upgrade their home or new construction, putting it on the market. So normal stuff, again, an expanding market, which is a good thing. More sales to go around. Let's see, closings. Yeah, 2,500. So, we're at the size that our market was in 2018. And 2018 was a phenomenal market. Really good market. It just feels weird because 2020 hadn't happened. So no one knew what was possible when you pour gasoline on a dumpster fire. And now everyone knows what that was like. And so it's like, oh, we're panicking, but we're going in the right direction. Questions about all of this? A lot of information. Most of it makes sense, kind of. That's what I like. The narrowing it all down to talking points, I think, hopefully is if I have a seller that's not doing what I want them to do or a buyer that's not doing what I want them to do, here are the conversations I can have. Hopefully that's helpful. Any other questions on this? If not, I've got 5 minutes. I was going to talk about something else, try to hurt some people's feelings. Should I do it? All right. I warned you. All right, guys. I don't have a marker or anything. I have a whole whiteboard wall, but I have to use this because I don't have. All right. I'm just going to share my philosophy on what your job is as a real estate industry or as a real estate agent. So, real estate agents, again, this is me. You gave me permission to be mean to you. So, real estate agents are really good at being busy but not productive. Can everyone nod their head on that? Love creating websites and flyers and blah, 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 and Facebook pages, but no one wants to talk to someone, right? So real estate agents are very good at being busy, not productive. You need to understand what your actual job is. Everyone remembers what a job is before they got into real estate? So where you had to show up, and if you didn't show up, you got fired. We forgot about that. My first 4 months, I quit my job and came in. I came in at 8, I didn't go home till 5. And everyone just like, what What's up with the new guy? Who's, what's his problem? But what I tell everyone, you get into real estate, you treat it like a job, you'll make money. You treat it like a hobby, you're gonna lose money. Jobs make money, hobbies cost money, right? So treat it like a job, make money. Treat it like a hobby, lose money. So your job is prospecting. That's it. Your job is to fill the top of the funnel. If you've been into my office, you see this stays drawn on my whiteboard because I say it at least once a week, so I just leave it up on my whiteboard. Your job is to fill the top of the funnel with leads. That's it. That is your only job. You might say, what about showing houses or writing contracts or being in inspections? Someone else can do all those things for you. You can be the best at writing an offer. You could have the whole contract memorized. You can know everything about it. And if you can't fill your pipeline with leads, you make $0 a year. Someone else can do all those things. So your job, and this is, everyone wants to prospect or has goals of prospecting, but if you don't time block it, it doesn't happen. No one's like, oh, I got 5 minutes, I get to make a couple phone calls. No one does that. You force yourself into doing the hard things. You do them early in the morning when your willpower is the strongest, and then you do everything else throughout the rest of the day. Your job is to fill the funnel with leads. That is it. You can do it by buying leads. You can do it by making phone calls, by having conversations, by doing whatever. But you've got to fill the top of the funnel with leads constantly. Because what happens, this is your income, and this is your activity. So this is what happens when you're a real estate agent. This happens to every real estate agent, but hopefully we stop it long term. Hey, Bray, will you give me a napkin? Yeah, thank you. So, in order to get any kind of money, you must be consistent with your activity. So if your activity is consistent every day, every week, every month, thank you so much, what will eventually happen is your income is gonna go like this, and then it's gonna go through the roof. All right, that's the cool thing about real estate. You can use leverage, and that income can get into the hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars a year if you leverage yourself, you do the right thing, and you maintain your activity. But that's not what we do, is it? What happens is our activity is right here, and it's like this, and it kind of, yeah. And then our income does what? And that's what it does. And then we go get a job, where they make us show up. And we're productive all of a sudden, right? How am I productive at this job but not at this job? So this is what happens. This is what you want to avoid. So let's say you listen to what I say and you follow my instructions. Let me show you what happens next. Try to take my advice. All right, your activity's great. You're doing good. Guess what? Income comes up. Then what happens? Oh man, I'm so busy. I have so many contracts. I have so many listings. I have all these things. I can't make my phone call. I can't do my job anymore. And I'm busy servicing my business instead of creating my business. So your activity, you get too busy, it goes here. And then what happens to your income? Then you're like, crap, I made $20K that month. And guess what's on the books for this month? Oh God, I better get back to work. And then what happens? Well, then what happens? And you create what I call the DNA curve of a real estate agent, where you go from 20K to 0 to 25K to 0, and we're racking up credit card debt here, paying it off here, and this is not, if this happens, you're not unique. It's not unique. This is what happens. So when you realize your job, what your actual job is. So if a buyer says, hey, Brett, can I go show this house at 10 a.m. in the morning? No, Mr. Buyer, I'm making phone calls from 10 to 11. I can show it to you at 9:30 or I can show it to you at 10:30. Instead, they let their business control them. They let the tail wag the dog, so to speak. And that one client, that's a hyena, what is that? That one client is controlling your entire business. That one client is going to affect your next 2 months of income because they want you to drop everything and go show that house. When if you just told them no, they'd say okay. They'll go at 10:30, but you don't really want to call people at 10, do you? So I'll go show you the house at 10 because you don't want to call them either. So, realize what your job is, put it on your calendar, and then when the tail tries to wag, you tell them no, because that's what, like I said, if you're doing an open house for someone, when I was in my first year, open houses and for sale by owners was all I did. Sold 37 houses, open houses, for sale by owners. That's it. Didn't spend $1 on marketing, advertising. I just worked every weekend doing these things. So if I sat in an open house that sucked and the seller made me do it again and again, 4 weeks of missed prospecting affects my next 4 months of income. 4 weeks affects 4 months of income. So I don't let that happen. You do this enough times and you start trying to figure out where the gaps are. And the gaps are, I only do this sometimes when I'm broke or when I don't have enough to do, when this should be the first thing you do, not the last resort. Does that make sense?
That should be the priority.
That is your job. It's your job. It's like if you run a restaurant, you hire someone to work the cashier, but they just keep cleaning the toilets all day. It's like, that's not your job. Go do your job. So I'll hire someone else to do the toilets. You need to take money at the cashier, right? We're all trying to clean toilets instead of collecting people's money at the cashier, right? So, and this is where real estate's a unique industry, because you could hate doing this, but you could be really good at working the business. So join a team. You love working the business, you love building that relationship, but you hate making phone calls. Let someone else do that, and then work their business. But I promise, this is the part that pays you, not this. This is the part that pays you. How many times you've seen someone on Facebook say, hey, $50 to whoever can show this house for me? But that person's gonna make what, $9 grand? This is the job. You can make a bunch of money doing this too. If you join a team, you work a system. Some people, it's not bad. Being on a team, some people are better on a team with the infrastructure and the support and the accountability and the built-in, some people thrive better in more organization. Some people thrive better in chaos. So there's not a wrong way to do it. And that's what's awesome about this industry. You like doing paperwork, you hate people, you hate showing houses, do the TC work. There's so many opportunities in this funnel, but none of it works unless there's a person filling the top of the funnel. And that's what your job is as an agent. So if you're on a team, want to get off a team, fill your funnel. If you're starting from scratch, you want to get your income going, fill your funnel. Don't let the other stuff fill your time, because the other stuff doesn't make money. You might think it does. Writing an offer, showing a house, you might think these make you money, and they're necessary, but they are not the one thing. So again, you call Christina, give her $100, she'll write that offer for you. You can't make it to your inspections, you give someone $50, they'll sit there for you. Can't show a house, they'll show the house for you. And then you're left with a $9,000 check, and you give them $50, $100, you do these things. So this is the job. This is what we signed up for. A lot of people don't realize that when they get into real estate. They think it's social media and showings and champagnes and house parties and all that stuff. And you do those things too, but it's a result of this. It's not how you get the money. It's not how you get the business. Did I hurt anyone's feelings? Yeah. This is what I love about, it took me several years to realize this. Agents don't need to learn new things. They need to be reminded of the same things over and over and over again, because we're all looking for shortcuts. We're all looking for better ways, more money, better opportunities, the next AI tool that's gonna make me rich so I can sit behind a computer and do nothing and still make money. Maybe one day, we're not there yet. Nothing replaces talking to people about real estate. Nothing replaces that. All right, what else?
I read a really good book called The Slight Edge, and it's all about just how every single day
Was any of this
these little
on there?
behaviors, no matter what you do in sales, are either putting you on the success curve or the failure curve, and there is no standing still. And that said a lot to me, because I think that we all think we're standing still. Like, I have enough in my pipeline and I have some pending, and so I can take a few days off, but those few days off are putting you on the failure curve. Like, every single day that you don't do it, you're sloping downward. It's just so little that you can't tell. And the same with success. You're gonna call 50 days and it doesn't feel like it's making any impact, but it is putting you on the success curve. It's just so small that we can't tell yet.
One of my favorite analogies, yes, exact, to that point, is working in real estate, getting started in real estate, but in general, being in real estate is like trying to walk up the down escalator. If you stop for a second, where does it take you? To the freaking bottom. And you could have made $200,000 selling real estate last year. And if you stop long enough, your income doesn't go to like 180, 175. It goes to zero. So like you said, there is no standing still. There is no stagnant. It is growing or shrinking, unfortunately. So, all right, get on the phone. So, sorry, I had to hurt someone's feelings today. Hopefully.
Time to make some calls.
Yeah. All right, guys, you can go home now.